Let me just double check that we are live. Yes, we are live now. Sweet.
Yay.
Alrighty. How are you?
Excited.
Excited.
Yes, excited.
Ali is just like trying to release RAM RAM
Is it
memory
still frozen?
a little bit.
Okay, let's see what else we can close.
Yeah, for some reason this takes a lot of your RAM. Sometimes when I stream with Manik, one of our ambassadors, the other time he like all of his battery was draining and so his video was like freezing and he didn't know he had like the monitors connected so they were supposed to be charging the laptop but it didn't happen for some reason like it was taking more energy than what it was charging so he had to go and get his charger and connect it immediately.
Wow. Yeah, the one time I used OBS for something, it was taking up everything.
Yeah. Hello, we have someone excited for this session. Sweet. Do you know Salesforce CDP or are you just excited to see Ali and Priya? Alrighty. We have some viewers already. Where are you all coming from? Where are you watching us from? And maybe we can start with some introductions so that people can know who you are. Maybe Priya, you want to start?
I'll let Ali go first.
All right,
Oh,
Ali.
great. Nice to meet everyone. Ali Hepp, I'm lead solutions engineer here at Salesforce. I specialize in Salesforce customer data platform as well as our personalization tool. So today I'll be working with Priya and Alex and kind of talking through CDP as well as how we can better integrate with MuleSoft to bring in some additional data to the system.
Thanks, Ali. Hi,
Nice.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
my name is Priya Singh. I'm a solution engineer at MuleSoft, but I've been in the integration space for around 13 years now, mostly on delivery, architecture, those kind of work. This is my first pre-sales role, so very exciting. Loving it so far. And very excited to be here. Yeah.
Nice. And someone is joining from Raleigh, North Carolina. Is that North Carolina? Yeah, I think so. Cool. I may go to Raleigh in November if everything goes good for the All Things Open. If anyone else is joining, it will be a nice event. I hope I can go. If not, there will be someone from MuleSoft. Maybe not me, but yes. Cool. So, all right. So, okay, can someone tell me what it sells for CDP? Like, it sounds super cool and everything, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can
good.
jump in
I was
here.
going to
So
give a couple stories just to set up like a little bit of imagination, and then Ali, you can take it away. You
yeah,
can explain it better than me. So I just want all our streamers to think about two stories that I'm going to tell today. More like experiences than stories. The first one is just a few days ago, and this happens often. I logged into my favorite recreational athletic wear store, and I had something to buy in mind. I logged in, and on the homepage, I saw the new arrival products, and at the bottom, the second section, it was all the sale product, the things that were on sale. So I got intrigued because the new arrivals looked exciting a little bit, and the sale products on sale were also exciting. But as I was scrolling, I probably spent less than 5 seconds on it. Two reasons. One, so many products were there. I was kind of like overwhelmed by the amount of products that were being shown to me. And second, most of them didn't intrigue me, didn't interest me, they were not relevant to me. So I spent like barely 5 seconds and I moved on. I wanted to buy a baseball hat, so I went there, searched for the hat, put it in my cart, and then what happens after that is a different story. But that's what the first story is. This actually often happens to me with Amazon as well. I don't know. I would be surprised if anybody here has ever explored the lightning deals on Amazon. Either of you? No, right? So I have a theory. I have a theory on why we never look at those Amazon Lightning deals. I have tried, trust me. One reason is there's so much products and most of them don't make any sense to me. Like I am not going to buy a $10 shower cap which is like super, fancy and all that. It doesn't relate to me. I am not going to buy all those products which doesn't make sense, and there are like 10,000, 11,000 products in those lightning deals, which it doesn't make any sense, and I'm like overwhelmed by all these options, so I never explore it. I move on to what I logged in to do, and that's the story. That's where it finishes. The second story I want to tell is once I add things to cart. So maybe you all do this too. I do this a lot. I add things to my cart, and then very deliberately I log out and I go and do something else. This actually I do very purposefully because it gives me time to really process if I want to buy that, if I want to spend the $100 that it was going to charge me, and if I sleep on it. And next day, if I still remember to go and place that order, it must have been super important to me, right? Then I am like, oh, I spent a day, it sat on the cart, and if it is important, I would today go and buy it. Otherwise, actually 80% of the times I forget about it. I add things to the cart all the time. I'm a proper cart abandoner in a sense. So these two stories, I want our streamers to think about it today. um, but also imagine what you would like this to look like. So for me, the lightning deals, I would like them to be more relevant to me. Show me the products that are relevant to me. Even the new arrivals, show me the things that are relevant to me. What I would have bought, what I would have clicked on, things like that. And the other side, the cart abandoner, I would have really liked if somebody would have sent me maybe a coupon code for, hey, we saw that you have left things in your cart. It's been a week. Here is your 25% off. Go and buy it. So that 25% off or any kind of incentive, I think I would have immediately logged in and bought that thing. So these are the two scenarios that come to mind. Think about it. Let us know in the comments what other imagination do you have around your shopping experience, because that is what we are going to be touching today. And now, Ali, over to you.
Great, thanks, Priya. And Decoupled said, or wait for the promotion, which I completely do, where I purposely abandon because I know they'll likely send me a coupon code in the next day or two. So I am right there with you as far as abandoning that cart. But I think that those are great kind of stories to set the stage here, because what our Salesforce CDP or what CDPs help us do is they help us create kind of a single view of our customers. And I think that today, especially with everything being digital, companies are faced with a challenge, right? To meet their customers on the right channels at the right time and really know what they're interested in, whether it's those products or promotions or whatever the use case might be. So to know their channels, to know their customers, and to communicate with them or engage with them successfully, and to personalize those experiences and really optimize those experiences and learn from them. And these are all things that Salesforce CDP can help companies do. And really, our CDP, we like to think of it as a self-serve customer data platform. It helps companies, people like you, achieve that single view of a customer. And again, just drive that personalization and engagement. It allows you to bring in data, and we'll kind of jump into the tool in a minute here, and allows you to bring in data from the Salesforce ecosystem as well as outside of the Salesforce ecosystem. And that's where MuleSoft is really imperative here, to bring in all of that data that you have kind of potentially disparate, right, in your organization, bring it together, unify it, and then make smarter decisions with that.
Smart is it decisions like showing us more personalized stuff and send us more targeted promo codes.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty. And then, that's in like Salesforce, right? On the Salesforce side. So you're going to try to integrate something with MuleSoft and that part from Salesforce?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to jump into Salesforce CDP, kind of do a quick overview of how we ingest data. And then with that, Priya is going to take us into MuleSoft so that we can get a look at how MuleSoft can help us bring in data to CDP that's outside of the Salesforce ecosystem. So if you think like um, other like commerce sites that might not be built on Salesforce's Commerce Cloud, or if you have other ESPs or loyalty programs, right? And you want that data so that you know what loyalty tier they are to segment off of. MuleSoft can help us through, Priya will walk us through all of those right connectors that we have today, quickly get up and running and bringing that data in.
Sweet. And there's a question: is it like data lake? If not, how different?
Yeah, so the CDP, and Priya, you might have an opinion on this too, but I'd say that typically what we see customers do is bring data from their data lake into the CDP, right? So it's really a marketer friendly tool, which we'll also take a look at. So if you have your data scientists, have your data aware analysts or specialists, right, set up that data model, ingest it into our cloud information model within Salesforce CDP, then we can allow marketers to, in a super user-friendly way, an interface, start to segment on that. So it reduces the need of getting tech involved or IT involved when marketing has certain initiatives or campaigns that they need to run. So I think of it as kind of a step after a data lake, right, where we can make that data more accessible to a broader range of teams across the organization.
Yeah, it's so data lake will have all that data just dumped there, and then the next step of it is how you're going to use all that data. You have all this big data stored in like your Google Cloud or your Microsoft Cloud, all these places, but how are you going to make those intelligent decisions out of that? That's where CDP comes in. You are not just dumping data there, but deriving relevant conclusions from it and smart decisions like Ali was explaining.
I see, I see. I'm zero familiar with Salesforce things, but I know that Einstein is supposed to be like something AI-ish. Is it similar or not?
So I'd say that Einstein being more AI focused, right? Like algorithms, running that on top of your data, engagement that consumers might be taking on your site or in your emails, in your app. That typically lends to what we call our personalization tool. I think where CDP comes into play is that it's also gathering all of that data around engagement across all of those channels, but you're building segments to utilize there and also streamlining those across channels. So CDP is less AI driven, right? It's more data driven type analytics and segmentation activation.
Got it, got it. Alrighty. So, Ali, do you want to show us how it looks like?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right, great. So here is our Salesforce customer data platform. This is our homepage for those of you who have never been in the platform before. And this really just provides you an overview of the system. For those of you that have worked within Salesforce products before, you can probably tell, right? It's a very similar look and feel to our Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Loyalty. It's built on our Lightning platform, which really helps provide that ease of use across our different products and systems. So here we just have an overview of kind of what's in your CDP instance. You have total records, segments. If I scroll down, you have insights into different activities and data streams. But for the purpose of today, I'm first going to kind of take a deeper look at our data streams, right? So MuleSoft can help us bring this data into our system. So here we have several different data streams that we've already set up here. And you can see that we have several different MuleSoft ones, right? We were bringing in loyalty data through Merkle, through Epsilon. We also have other data streams coming in here, whether it's content catalogs. We have email engagement coming in from Salesforce Marketing Cloud. But really, this is kind of the first step of setting up your Salesforce customer data platform. It's bringing in all of that data from your different sources into the system so that you can ingest that, ultimately unify it across all of the different identifiers or unique identifiers you have in your different systems, and then create that single view. So quickly going through this, right, we have a series of connected sources, really like out of the box integrations within Salesforce CDP, those being really focused on Salesforce or within the Salesforce ecosystem. Marketing Cloud within Salesforce CRM falls our Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Loyalty Cloud, things of that nature. And then we also have the ingestion API. And then down here, we have other sources. So you can bring in from external sources like Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, and then, of course, we have MuleSoft. So again, connected sources, they're great. They allow you to get up and running very quickly. You can use kind of what we call data bundles that are pre-mapped data or data schemas from these sources into our data model within Salesforce CDP, which really just allows your teams to get up and running much quicker. But for the purpose of today, I'm going to go in and set up a data stream for MuleSoft just to showcase, kind of before Priya jumps into MuleSoft itself, how easy it is to set up that data stream or that source or bucket, right, where we'll store that data that MuleSoft is passing to us to utilize within our CDP. So to do that, I'm going to go into our CDP setup.
Is this included in a free account, or do you have to have a paid account?
So this is included in the paid CDP SKU. Yeah. There's not necessarily, to my knowledge, like a dev org that you might get for a sales or service cloud today, where I think you get like 30 days, right, to kind of go in and play around. But I can definitely confirm all of that. So when you're in the setup, you kind of see all of the different configuration or data sources that you saw on that previous screen, right? So you have Marketing Cloud. This is where you would identify different Marketing Cloud accounts that you would sync here into Salesforce CDP. But for the purpose of today's call or live stream, we're going to be talking about MuleSoft. So I went in here to the MuleSoft ingestion API, which really, again, is just kind of that bucket. And you can see all of the different objects that we've already synced in with MuleSoft. And I'm just going to go ahead and create an additional object that we've set up for today. So to do so, I have set up this object in schema, which I'll just pull up. Very straightforward. We're going to pull in this CrowdTwist loyalty data object. We can see it just has some few simple fields here: email, loyalty ID, sign up ID, status, etc.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Let me reopen that.
Ali, maybe you can also explain a little bit about loyalty AP and loyalty schema, what kind of information it might have, and why a company or a retailer might use it.
Yeah, so we see companies bring in, and let me know, Alex, if that's good there.
That's okay.
Perfect. So we see loyalty data being brought in for a few different reasons, right? We see, if you think of use case around marketers wanting to make campaigns dynamic based off of loyalty tier. So they might want gold to receive one promotion, let's say silver, receive another type of promotion, and maybe bronze, receive a third type. We can pull this in not only to segment off of tier, but we can also pull it in as what we refer to as, right, an appendable attribute into the activation of this, into the data, so that when they do build those campaigns based off of the segments that Salesforce CDP is allowing them to build, they can use that data point for personalization. Again, kind of driving home that that important piece of this is that we want our customers to feel like we know who they are, and to, I guess, know that we know who they are and how they interact with our brand. So we might not want to communicate with someone who's a gold member in the same way that we do with someone in a bronze. Another great aspect of Salesforce CDP is that if you are a company or customer who also has Service Cloud, right, you can pull this data into Service Cloud so that your Service Cloud agents have that single view of your customer as well. So if they see someone calling in with a gold member status, maybe they might treat them differently, or know that they're a high priority customer for you, versus maybe someone who's not a loyalty member at all. Or maybe they might want to pitch loyalty to someone, right? If they're calling in and you resolve their case efficiently and they're happy with the experience. So there's just a few different ways that you can use it here. So we have the schema, and once we have that in place, we're just going to go ahead and click Update Schema. And it's just a matter of uploading that schema into Salesforce CDP. So when I select that file, you can see that it's pulling in the new object of CrowdTwist loyalty data, as well as identifying all of those headers and data types within that file. So once it looks good, I'll just click Save. And then now it's just an additional schema that's available to us to bring in, right? So at this point, we're not necessarily syncing any data into the system. We're not necessarily setting up that data stream or that bucket of data that MuleSoft can push to. We're just making it available within the system. If I go back into our data streams here, and let's say I have all of my MuleSoft objects in place, or we just launched this loyalty program, and that's the loyalty source that we're going to be bringing them in on. I've checked the schema, everything looks good. We can then ingest that data through the ingestion API. And you can see here that we have all of those options. If we were to bring something in from a POS, it would be a similar process. And I now have this CrowdTwist loyalty data object available to me within our CDP.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Someone says, I might have missed it, but is there an editor to generate the schema, or does that have to be written by hand?
So currently it would be written by hand. I will say once you have a schema in there, you do have the ability to download the schema. And let me just confirm that there's some user documentations down here. It might provide you with some guidance on that schema. Not in that one. Let's talk about
You can also use the MuleSoft Design Center to write the schema.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because it was an open API spec, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Priya.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So then you can bring in your object, right? So we've selected that object that's now available. And then within Salesforce CDP, we have the concept of different categories of data. So engagement being really like that one-to-many. If you bring in order data, order detail data, like web engagement, email engagement, SMS engagement, anything that's one-to-many, it likely would fall under engagement. Now, since we're talking loyalty here, and each customer would have one loyalty profile associated to them as a consumer, this would be a category of profile. And then just to kind of keep the system flexible for what your business needs are, there is a concept of other if you go through and might not be able to determine if it's not necessarily engagement, but also not necessarily profile. You have that option there. Here for primary key, we would select that as loyalty ID, right? So here we're just kind of identifying within the system what that schema looks like and how we're going to be ingesting records into these tables within CDP. And then record modified field date. This isn't required for a profile type table, but essentially think of it around that engagement type. If you have a purchase date as part of orders, and we would essentially select that purchase date, or if you wanted to use I don't know, transaction date as the modified record date field to essentially allow the system to stay up to date with what records are being processed and add some sort of organization to the data within those tables. Another nice thing here too, and I'm going to zoom out just to get a full view here. We do have the ability to create formula fields on data ingestion. So again, if you're familiar with Salesforce, Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, you're likely familiar with formula fields. And it's just a nice option and feature that's available so that you can um, start to formulate your data in ways that make sense to your business. So if you're bringing in raw data from transactions and you want to convert different fields into something else, or if you want to calculate, right, if a product was sold on sale, as an example, we could calculate the sold price versus list price of that product to mark like a Boolean field of true false if it was on sale. Again, kind of putting your data into an easy to use format for anyone who might be utilizing it within the Salesforce CDP system. So once you have your fields inserted here, and if you create any of those formula fields, if you need them, you're now just going to essentially deploy that data stream. So we've added the schema or uploaded that schema into the ingestion API to utilize from MuleSoft. Once we made that object available within CDP setup, we now created that object within Salesforce CDP as a data stream, so that now if Priya did go in, right, to MuleSoft, she could start passing that data into this data stream, and we'd start seeing those records reflected here.
Is that your cue, Priya?
Yeah, Priya, you want to jump in and show us some MuleSoft magic?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Okay, so we understood all about the data streams and how the data that we put in makes those intelligent decisions. So let's now go and see what we can do in MuleSoft. And actually,
Alrighty.
that was a good question about the schema, because maybe I'll try to build that schema in our design center now. No promises being made. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen okay.
Not yet. Oh, I see it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure most of the audience of this stream is aware of MuleSoft and the Anypoint platform, or should I talk a little bit about the platform?
Um, I think we're fine since we're like supposed to be MuleSoft community. But if anyone has any questions about the platform, you can just go ahead and write in the chat, and I will put that question up here. But yeah, you can just go ahead and start.
Sounds good. So, so let's talk about the value of MuleSoft here just for a little bit, and then we'll get hands-on. So, like Ali was explaining, the value MuleSoft brings here with Salesforce CDP is bringing in the option of customers collecting data from any type of source. You don't need to worry about whether there's a connector, what kind of data lake am I using, what kind of cloud storage am I using. MuleSoft is that, provides you all of those integrations, whether or not we have a connector available. Even though for most applications now we do have those connectors with our 250 plus connector catalog. So that's the value. We can bring in data from any source. Some of those connectors I will show today. Not everything will be working, but we will see what we want to pick to make it working and give it a little try of whether we can build an end-to-end flow right from Mule, trigger the API, pull some data using the schema that Ali just showed us, and then try to insert it into CDP and see how it looks. So that's the goal of what we will try to build today. Okay, so let's start with the design center and see if we can create that schema that Ali was showing. So this is the Anypoint platform. I will go to start designing. And here I click on create new API specification. So one thing that we have found with designing writing schemas for CDP is it's preferable if you write it in OS format rather than RAML, although both are, you can work with either schema formats, but we are going to try OS today to make it easier for us. What was the name of the schema, Ali? Was it a loyalty one? Crowd
Yep.
twist, I think.
Crowd twist loyalty. Yep.
Okay, let's name it.
And you don't use the visual editor? Oh my god.
With OS, honestly, I find it easier to just write it. I may actually just copy paste what Ali already has. But if I was writing a RAML spec, I would definitely be using the visual. I'm not that comfortable yet.
Oh, it's just so easy to use everything
The
with
visual,
clicks. Yeah.
I agree, definitely. Yeah, RAML specs visual is the way for me too.
Although I discovered on my last stream about API governance
Yeah,
that you cannot create, what was it? It was something with the response. Oh, you cannot create the headers on the response from the visual editor. I was so disappointed,
yeah.
but okay.
I read something similar recently too about I was trying to convert a schema into something, and it said that to do this, you have to like maybe download the schema and then make the change and upload it. I couldn't do it in the visual one. Yeah. I also wish there was a way that once I publish, there is something that I cannot go back to the visual once I have either gone to the editor mode. I cannot go back to the visual mode. That is one thing I feel like
Yeah,
maybe both options should be available.
yeah, definitely. But it's
Okay.
still a very useful tool.
Yeah, I mean, if we can write schemas without having to learn that specific language, yes. So, demo Twitch schema. This is the one. So I probably need to make.
So you both are cheating. You already had stuff prepared. You were supposed to do everything from scratch. I'm just kidding.
Mm,
That's fine.
we don't want to dissuade people from the tool if we make mistakes.
Mistakes are encouraged. That's how you learn. But yeah, I understand. It may take a lot of time to do everything from scratch.
Yeah. Plus, I'm actually already forgetting all my keywords. So, why is it giving me two? You know what? I may cheat again and see a schema that I created before.
That's all right. I haven't used RAML in so long because I've just been using the visual editor. I don't know if I would remember it by this point.
That's another thing that I feel like I'm forgetting how I have to write my methods. Let
It's
me
like
see.
writing with like by hand. Like I no longer write anything. Like sometimes I forget how to write.
Yeah, I'm getting a little like stage fright because I'm like I have written so many schemas by now. Sorry, I'm going to have to cheat.
That's all right.
It's like with spell check. Whenever I have to whiteboard,
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm going to abbreviate this word.
yeah. This is where I was like, this is how I felt like I was going to write. But okay, let me just take this one, and then we'll just change the components and the fields that Ali wants us to use. Oh, I don't want so many. But just
So
create.
where did you get this schema from? Was that something that you both prepared or did you get it from somewhere?
Yeah, so this is so we are building a lot of assets for how CDP and MuleSoft works together. So we
Mm,
are actually in exchange. If I will show, there are a lot of other APIs, a lot of other schemas that we have already created for different sources. For example, if a customer has like multiple loyalty apps that we don't have a connector for, you don't have to wait on the connector. You can write your own system API schema and then use that however you want to consume the data in MuleSoft. So, so these APIs, this API that I'm referring, this I have created from scratch. So kind of not cheating, but that's a lazy excuse. Um, yeah, honestly, I have forgotten. But see, it's still giving me red. I don't know why it's.
Maybe the indentation.
Yeah, the info is in another. Info shouldn't be in brackets.
And the one you copied is RAML. Oh no, it's OpenAPI. Huh.
Yeah, yeah. This thing is surprising.
Maybe
Like,
you are missing an indent because you have like the curly brackets in line 1 and 16. So maybe you do have to indent it.
you mean this one?
So from lines 7 to 14, what you copied, if you just select it and do a tab to be on the
Oh,
other.
oh yeah.
No, no.
Let's start a new version. But this is 3.0, so I am on the right one. You know what? Let me try this. Why should this be in brackets?
There's
No.
a question in the meantime. Does the schema in CDP allow JSON or YAML or both? Maybe for Ali?
I believe it's just YAML.
Mm. It's also not giving me
It,
suggestions.
You're using RAML versus JSON. That's why it's not working. But this is not JSON though, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm using RAML? Where did I select RAML? No,
I
I
don't know.
wanted a OS.
Maybe because it looks, they mean that it looks different. I don't know. You selected JSON earlier. Um, I don't think so. Open APIs. Oh, Open API spec 3 or YAML must be
Oh,
chosen.
JSON YAML in the OS.
Ah, aha.
Well, I learned something new.
That's, yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, we're starting a new one. Yeah, maybe during API spec. Yes, yes. Yes, we figured it out. Thank you all. You're so sharp. Look at the file extension. Yes. Thank you. Do you I don't know if it's DJ Wang or if it's D Joang Wan. But thank you. Thank you.
and just to confirm on the RAML versus JSON, it schema has to be Open API format with YAML extension.
Cool,
So
cool, cool.
let's create the components. Ali, do you mind telling me just the name of the attributes so we can be good? I
Yes.
think there should be an email.
There is email, there's loyalty ID. Here, let me pull that up.
And email loyalty ID.
Email, loyalty ID, sign up date.
I think we don't have to do the whole thing. So this
Okay.
is the idea. Like you can. Sorry, was somebody saying something?
I was just going to say the only other two are loyalty status and loyalty points.
Oh, okay. Any of these are numbers?
Loyalty points is numbers or number, and then sign up date is just a date time format.
We'll leave the date time format. That might create some more issues.
Okay.
Okay, so created the components. Now we will create the methods. Let's go here again. Just going to copy one of these.
And then remind me what is this for? Is this the schema that Ali put in Salesforce, or is this for MuleSoft?
This is this, yes. So actually we are kind of doing a reverse way. So first we will know what data source we have. So for example, in this case, if CrowdTwist is an app, then that's our data source. What we will first start with is on the MuleSoft side. We will write the schema, we will do this in the design center, we will publish this in Exchange, and then what Ali will do is she will the schema and then upload it in CDP to generate her data streams. So we are kind of
Okay.
doing it a little backwards.
Okay. Okay.
Let's rename this to crowd twist. So many red is kind of scaring me right now. What kind of information, Ali, do you think we'll get from this? Like loyalty data, loyalty information?
Loyalty data. Yeah.
Okay. So loyalty info. We'll make it an array.
Yay.
Whew. When the red goes away, it's so beautiful. There's no red. Okay, so yeah, like we explained, this is the first step. This will happen, and then we will go to CDP ideally. So if I publish this on Exchange, I don't have an example, but we'll create something. I hope I'm not logged out. And then for maybe today's what we are building is just create like a simple, because we are also short on time, we'll just create like a simple flow in Studio, which just gets data maybe from the browser. We can use the mocking API to see how we send data directly from the request, the browser request, and then how it comes in Studio. So here is our API, and then let's modify some data. Hopefully we let's put let's spam Ali's email. What's your actual email, Ali?
Hepp at Salesforce.
You're not supposed to tell me your. You
Well,
really
you
want
asked for it.
to ask? I offended it with let's spam Ali's email. I thought you would be like,
Oh,
no, I don't want to be
you guys
spammed.
can email me questions.
What's the name? They have 1100 points. They should be gold tier or something. So this part probably everybody knows, like the value of mocking service and how it gets helps us with the parallel development and all that. So once this is working, and this is where the CDP team will come into picture. Ali's team will come and review the schema, whether this will work in CDP. They will upload it and they will try it. What I will do is then go to Exchange, and this is probably too small. Huh? So So what we were hoping to do today is build something. Let's start a new application. Which demo API?
I'm so excited for any point cloud builder because these issues will be so easily done, like just zooming and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. So here what I will probably do is start with a simple listener, and this listener will actually give us the data directly from the browser, and then we will make a simple transform, and then I will look in Exchange for our MuleSoft CDP connector, which will make this process a breeze. So let's look for that. Here we
And that's
go.
an official connector, right?
Yes, yes, it is supported by MuleSoft, so you don't have to worry about patching and all of that. So we will use so here if I don't know if you can see with me.
If you can zoom in a little bit, that would be nice.
Yeah,
What happened to your zoom? It
that's
was working.
it was working. It decided to not work now. Uh, Let me
As
check this.
one does. Yeah.
We just tested and it was working, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, every time that something can go wrong, it just goes wrong because why not?
yeah, I'm getting used to this. I've done a couple lunch and learns live too, so I'm like, yeah, I expected to go so smooth, but so yeah, the thing is enabled the Zoom, but somehow it has decided to not work on me. Why?
All right. Well, that's fine. We can just get really close to the screen and see it.
Let me try to just zoom this thing. Or actually, let's just do this. I'll expand this. Is this any better?
No, because the font is the same. Don't
Mm.
worry, that's fine.
Okay, I'll talk through it. So in this connector, you get both the bulk API options and the streaming API options. So if you are connecting to a data lake, you can use your bulk upload. And if you're connecting to something that updates your information more frequently, you can use the streaming API option. And that's what we will use today. Although you can't see, so you can't tell if I'm lying to you, but I'm not. I'm using the
I
streaming.
trust you.
Thanks, Alex. So this is the connector. I'm going to okay not have a connection. So I'll create a new connection. Going to use an account I already have, but Ali can explain how we get new account access if there is any setup needed there. Is there anything Ali we need to do? Because
Yeah.
you gave me my account access, so I was all set.
Yeah. So basically, you will create a connected app within Salesforce CDP, which just gives you the all of like the tokens or IDs that you need to be able to access and pass us data. So just looking at this documentation. Oh, that's my screen. I was like, you have this up.
Yeah.
Yes. So essentially, if we go, and I will pull up some documentation, and you know what, I can pivot to into our setup. Again, if you're familiar with Sales or Service Cloud, this is like your typical setup, right? So you can go into your connected apps. And then within here, we have a MuleSoft connected app. So this will, and we have documentation that kind of goes through this, but we can pull back all of the information that Priya would need. We relax the IP restrictions. This allows us to pass the data, right, and refresh token valid until revoked. Like all of these settings are in our documentation that you'll need to to update or configure this way once you go in. But essentially, this connected app and then that ingestion API that we set up previously will allow Priya to pass us this data into the system.
Yep. And ideally, you would not put all this in plain text, but in the interest of time, we are doing it this way. You will create a secure properties, where you will put all your authorization details.
Don't worry, in the streams, we normally don't use best practices because we just want to get over with it. But yes, you have to secure this.
Okay, so let's test the connection. Won't be surprised if it doesn't work.
Of course. Maybe because you have quotes.
No, it's just testing with the key and secret. Has anything changed? Ali, do you know?
No, not to my knowledge.
No, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't affect us, but okay.
I was going to say, sometimes it would fail on that first time and then work the second time.
It worked.
Yeah.
Okay, so I created the connection and now I need the source API name. Ali, can you give that to me? So
Yes.
these are the settings you'll do once every time you create a new stream or a new connected app. You will save all this information and then you can reuse it for any new object in the schema that you are sending data to. So this will be like a one time you will have to create that. This is probably even.
Yep. And then to see any of like the API, source API name, object name, that's all within the ingestion API setup where we uploaded that schema. So the source API is MuleSoft underscore demo, capital M, capital D.
Okay.
And the object API name is capital C, crowd twist loyalty, capital D on data.
Is the twist T small?
Yes, small. And loyalty. Small.
In data?
Capital D.
Is right?
Crowd twist loyalty data, yes.
Okay. Okay. And then maybe let's put a logger just to see if things go well. Okay, so I will configure the listener here. I think this should. We're using 8081 and let's make it crowd twist. Okay. So what I'll try to do here is deploy this and then I'll open Postman and we will try to send a request from our local host.
What did you add in the data weave?
Oh, yes, I have to add
Oh.
the transformation. Yes. So one thing to note with our streaming API is that you have to send data to CDP in JSON. You can get source data in any format and then use data weave magic to convert it to JSON and then send it to streaming. So here we'll probably send the request in JSON, so I don't have to do a lot of data weave here. What I will need to do is convert the data into the full data into payload. So just do data payload, and this will take care of the whole request from the browser coming in, converting it into JSON payload. I think now I'm ready to deploy. This is set up, the logger. So endpoint. Okay. Meanwhile, let me set up the postman. So here is postman. I'm going to do a post.
I don't know if you're on TikTok, but I have this song in my head from TikTok and I can't get it out and it's driving me insane.
Let's
I
hear
want to know.
it.
the They did like a remix of one of the scenes from Stranger Things. And it's something like Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. And it's driving me insane. Like it's so I don't know what how they did it. Like it's a horror scene. Like people are dying in the scene. How did you create a song out of that? But people have talent apparently.
Yeah.
And it's catchy because you can't get it out of your head.
Yes, I can't for days. I can't. And I keep seeing it on TikTok, so I just like keep reinforcing it in my head.
Yeah, with these earworms, the songs that's stuck in your head on a loop, the earworms, yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
The last time I remember that happened to me just a few months ago was with the Billie Eilish Bad Guy. I
Hmm.
just couldn't stop singing it, play it all the time. It just got so stuck in the head, yeah.
Play it until you hate it.
Yep, yeah. Okay, so we are connected. Let's see. So we are sending, so we'll have to create the data. Let's, let's see. I can just use, we'll change, we'll just try with a few. I hope we made the fields optional. So Ali, when you set up the data stream, is everything optional?
Yes. Yep. Should be.
Okay, so I can just send whatever I want and remove everything else. Yeah.
Yep. I think as long as it has loyalty ID, we should be good.
Okay. So
There's a question. I noticed the output from DataWave into CDP only had data as a field to map against. Are there plans to pull the full schema slash fields to allow field mapping?
not for this demo, but yes, that's the idea. Your source schema will obviously never match exactly what the schema you will need in your data stream in CDP. And that's where the data weave magic will come in. Once you have your actual source API schema, um, and you start your transform, you can do that, the field to field mapping according to how your data stream in CDP is configured. Right now, we are kind of taking a shortcut by using the data stream schema as our source. So there is no need to map field values. But yes, in when you're designing an actual production level solution, then you will be doing that mapping. Yeah. Cool. Let's see what. Um, just for fun, let's try one more. This is just a test to see if the flow is even sending anything to CDP right now or not. Okay, so localhost 8081, the flow is running. Let's see what we get.
Is that
Okay,
good?
this is good.
Yay!
I'm very surprised. Time for you, Ali, to check if you got it. Do you want to share your screen and maybe we can see how we can check the history and things?
Yeah, so within CDP, we obviously, like we viewed before, have the data streams that we can kind of look into each of these. It does have total record count, things of that nature, but we also have the ability to go into Data Explorer up here at the top. And what we can do with Data Explorer is essentially go into one of the data streams, or we refer to them as data lake objects in this instance, to see what data is being populated within there. So it's kind of a nice way, especially as you're setting up these integrations, to see how the data is passing before you go in and actually like map it into the data model objects within CDP. So here we have a few. Here's Crowd Twist. Let's see if they hit yet. Doesn't
Yes.
look like they did, but I know last time, I think, Priya, it took
Sometimes
maybe
there's a delay.
a
Yeah.
few minutes in the front end. We saw it in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to kind of show you how the data would render here until that does load.
Or we can use that time to show some of the other connector options in MuleSoft,
Sure.
and then it usually takes like 3 to 4 minutes to show up sometimes. At least in our testing, that's what was happening for the other
Yeah.
demo pieces.
Yeah, and so here's what it would look like, but I think to Priya's point, let's look at those other connectors, especially just looking at time. And then hopefully by then we'll see that data come through for the crowd twist specifically.
Okay. So some of the other connectors that you can use with MuleSoft that will come useful when companies are trying to pull data from all these data lakes is
Want
something.
to share your screen again, Priya?
Oh, I thought I was sharing.
Sorry,
There
my
you go.
bad.
Yeah, you're fine. Um, so yeah, something like Snowflake. If you have Snowflake as your data warehouse or data lake, you can also use our Azure connector. So there is an Azure storage connector. Yep, it's not working. The Zoom is not working for me.
You're still trying.
Yeah, I thought maybe by some miracle it will start, but no. So yeah, Azure storage. Then there is Azure Data Lake connector separately as well. We have Amazon S3 connectors. We have databases, any kind of database, Oracle, MS SQL, you name it, we have it. Then if you also have file servers, many companies are still dumping a lot of data in Excel sheets and CSV files onto file servers, so you can use our file connectors for that. And then again, you'll go through the same process of mapping it to the schema that you will use in CDP to set up the stream, and then use either the bulk option or the streaming option to send the data there. Um, so these are some of the other connectors that can come valuable that can be used. So there's S3 as well, and yeah, so these are some of the other options that you can use wherever your data is. You can use MuleSoft to get that into CDP to build those intelligent decisions.
Do you have any template in Mule for CDP?
Template. I don't think I understand the question.
Like in Exchange, I guess?
Um,
An accelerator.
oh, yeah, we actually do have. That's a great question because we do have. Let me actually go to Exchange and show you. So if you're trying to start from scratch, you don't have to. We have our accelerator for retail, which now includes actually a CDP use case. And so if you're not familiar with accelerators, they are kind of like gives you a little bit of a leg up. You don't have to start your complete development from scratch. So it gives you templates, examples, even like blueprint of how your solution can be. You can customize it. It's not production ready, so you can't just like download it and deploy it. You have to customize it for your own organization, credentials, best practices, things like that. But you can so yeah, right now we have these 5 use cases, and the one we recently added was um, relevancy with CDP. So this kind of shows you how you can use CDP, how you can bring MuleSoft into it, and you get a lot of documentation here, so you don't need to go and read up a lot about it. You can just simply download this here, um, the whole asset set, and then do your customization, and then save a lot of time in building. So yeah, that was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Decoupled. That is cool. I will download.
Awesome.
Sweet. So we're out of time, but is there anything else you both want to tell us about all of this?
We want to ask people to explore CDP and MuleSoft for CDP and ask us questions. There's a lot of enablement available on our website, on all the channels that Alex already, the MuleSoft community already talks about all that. So I'm sure you can find relevant material there and ask us questions.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think MuleSoft gives a lot of opportunity to bring different types of data into Salesforce CDP. So I think it's going to be a really big integration and just ingestion point for our customers. So appreciate the time to let us walk through this. And like Priya said, let us know if you have any questions or use cases, right? We can always help kind of brainstorm and build out what those might look like.
Yeah, maybe if someone comes up with a very cool use case, we can also put it here in Twitch, and maybe just see like how you did it. If you have any questions, and we can have Priya and Ali again. If
Yeah.
you any of you in the viewers section want to do something like that, just let me know, and we can just schedule it whenever. Thank you. This has been useful, says Decoupled.
Yeah, on that point, I just wanted to add, like, I was talking to my director the other day, and he said something really cool. He was like, the way to think about use cases is if you went to a restaurant or a place where you experience something, you think about how you would like this to be better and more fun, and that's the use case you should be thinking about. So if you go to a restaurant or a shop that you shop at or eat at, and you can think of a way that I wish this was like this, that's what we want. So come to us, come to Alex, tell us what you imagine, what you would like, and maybe we'll try to build it
Sweet, from scratch.
from scratch. Kind of.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you. I hope this was a nice experience for you, and I hope to see you again in another stream. Just let me
Yeah,
know.
thank
Sweet.
you so
Yeah.
much. Have a
Thanks so
nice
much.
evening.
Just really quick for everyone watching, I will really try to have one stream per week. So I will do for now 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, because our people from India really want to get into the streams. So I will try to do it on ET morning because it's IST night, if I remember correctly. So yes, 10:30 a.m. ET every Thursday, starting on the next Thursday. I will try to be here as much as I can. You can also see the schedules if you go into our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MuleSoft community. You can go into the schedule part and you will see that every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. ET, or in your time zone, you will see that I will try to be there. um, Also, we will have a new developer advocate joining in July, like the third week of July from London. So that would be super exciting. I hope we can have more streams on that time zone as well. And maybe we can also have David Norris eventually in Australia. So thank you all so much for joining. And that's it for this stream. Thank you both.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.